Hey guys, what is up? I am SMW Nerd, and today's going to be a bit different. I'm going to be doing a vlog pretending I am Frankenstein's monster. This is a video I'm doing for school, so yeah. Anyway, let's get to it. Like I said, I'm using Frankenstein's monster, and yes, the monster he created is not named Frankenstein. They just call him the creature. Alright. Let's just get to it. Alright, guys. Hey guys. I'm the monster created by Frankenstein. I am saying this as I am about to burn myself at the North Pole. Anyway, I'm just gonna tell y'all a little bit about myself and what I've been through. If you haven't read the book, you probably will know what's going to happen. So, just listen, please. Let's just start at the beginning when I was first created. Now, keep in mind that all these memories are distant. I can't remember most of them because it's like when you're first born and you don't remember when you're a baby. Except for I kinda do remember, but it's just faded. Anyway, my eyes opened. I didn't know where or who I was. I looked around. I looked at my feet. I realized I could move them. I could also move my arms. I rolled off the thing I was laying on. I got up and started walking. I stumbled at first, but then as I kept walking around, I got the hang of it. I saw this hallway. It was very dim. I started walking around the hallway. Then I saw a door. I didn't know what it was at first. I soon realized that I could open it. And then when I opened it, I saw a man sleeping on a bed. I did not know who this man was at first. Nor did I know what he was. See, the same creature as I was? I didn't even know who I was at the time, though. But then his eyes opened. He shouted loud and ran out the door. I couldn't find him after that. As I was walking around, I saw something shiny. I looked at it. There was a man staring right at me. But I didn't know what this man staring at me was. But then when I moved my hand, he moved the same hand I did. I tested this out a few times. It was like he was copying my exact movements. Actually, he was copying my exact movements. But then, later I figured out it was a reflection. Of course, I didn't know what reflection meant at the time, but I would just say it's the same. I'm looking at myself in the mirror, but I didn't know it was a mirror. I figured all this stuff out later, though. After I was done toiling with the mirror, I decided to walk around some more. I found my way out of the laboratory, and there was more creatures that looked like the first man I saw. But then, when I approached them, they screamed and ran away. I wondered why. I did not know I was ugly at the time. This concludes my first part of the vlog. The second part will continue shortly. Then I found myself in the forest, away from civilization. Everyone seemed to be afraid of me. As I looked in the sky, I saw a shiny orb in the sky. I was wondering what this was for a while. It allowed me to see a little in this darkness. Was it always this dark here? I was so cold and hungry, but I didn't know what this bad feeling was or how to fix it. I just knew it was very unpleasant. I realized soon how to fix one of these unpleasant feelings, covering up with something big, like a bunch of big leaves or something to cover my body. Without wearing these clothes, it would be much worse. I still felt hunger, though. I didn't know how to fix this. I was worried. I was losing hope. I decided to keep walking. I saw these colorful orbs on some of the trees. I pulled some off. I examined the magenta sphere for a bit, then put it in my mouth. It was interesting. I didn't really know what to think of this feeling. It was very sweet, but I didn't know what that was at the time. Then I swallowed it. Couldn't help but swallowing it. I liked the feeling of that berry in my mouth, so I decided to eat more. As I continued to eat the berries, that unpleasant feeling started going away. But then, when I felt that again, I just ate the berries. After I was done eating, I would take more berries with me as I walked. I had no goal to where I was going, though. I just kept walking. I noticed that the darkness everywhere was starting to fade, and soon that shiny orb was no longer in the sky. Soon another orb started to appear in the sky, but much bigger and brighter. I figured out that this orb was allowing me to see better. As I continued walking around, I felt tired. I didn't know what this feeling was, but I desired the need to lie down. I heard some voices, got closer, then I saw people and a cottage and a shed next to the cottage. I stayed hidden and watched them for a while. There was two people, a man and a woman. When they went inside, I walked in their yard. I saw the shed. There was a door on the shed. I had seen one of these before, so I opened the door, walked in the shed, saw some hay. I laid down, and then soon I was asleep. I awoke in the shed I had slept in. I heard some sounds coming from the walls beside me. I saw a hole in the wall. It was big enough for me to see out of. I peeked in the hole and saw people. I also saw the young man and woman I had seen earlier in the yard. I watched them for a while. Some of them worked, and some of them just stayed. I wondered why it didn't, and they seemed sad most of the time. I wondered why. It didn't look like they had anything to be sad about. They had a nice house, nice furniture, a fireplace to keep them warm, and food and water. Though at the time I didn't know what speech was, I started to learn things that they were saying, like what they called each other, and what they said. The young man was called Felix. The young woman was Agatha. The older man, who was blind, was named DeLacy, but for a while I just called him Father because that's what Felix called him. So, I thought that's what his name would be. Later, I found out his real name was DeLacy. Sometimes I would just learn words by listening to these people and watch them every day. I just hid in the shed the whole time. I was surprised I never came in the shed. I thought it would be a good place to store supplies, such as firewood. Sometimes I would actually help them get firewood because they would have trouble getting it. And sometimes visitors would come by. Felix would teach this girl, Arabian, how to speak his language. As he taught her, I also learned other words. I also had learned words from reading stories such as Paradise Lost and Plutarch's Lives. Paradise Lost has many deep emotions. I enjoyed reading these and learning how to talk and read. I also had taken my creator's notebook from his lab when I had first awoken. I had read about the 4 months it took to create me and how he did. I read all of it. It made me mad and sad to find out that my own father and creator neglected me. Sometimes I would secretly help. Sometimes, like I said earlier, I would secretly help this family, such as getting firewood for them. And one day, D. Lacey was home by himself. I felt like I should meet him, so I gathered up my courage and knocked on the door. I had spent many months in the shed. I felt that these people were my friends, even though I had never met them. Just watched them. I knew a lot about these people. So I knocked on the door of the house. He told me to come in. We got into a conversation. I told him how ugly I was and everyone was scared of me. He said he would try and help me. I told him about my friends and that him and his family were my friends. And he said, "Who are you?" Then Felix and Agatha bursted open the door. Agatha fainted when she saw me, for I was really ugly. Felix then pulled me away from his father and beat me with a stick. I could have easily killed him. Instead, I ran off into the woods. I did not want to hurt Felix. I crouched down in the woods and started to cry. Later, I came back to the cottage. Felix was talking to another person. Felix said something about not being able to afford the rent. They both took off. They didn't come back. I cursed my creator. I wanted revenge. I burned down the house and the shed. I wanted to get revenge on Frankenstein no matter what. I knew where he lived, but I didn't know how to find the town. The sunlight was my only guide. As I adventured through the woods, it got colder. Everything started freezing and getting hard. I even got shot by a man and had to suffer a painful wound. I found a town. I saw a little boy. I wanted to ask him where I was, but of course he was terrified when he saw my hideous face. He called me a monster that wanted to eat him. I did not want to do such thing. I told him I didn't want to hurt him. Then he said, "I'll tell my papa if you don't let me go. His name is M. Frankenstein." When I heard this, I said, "You are related to my enemy? You will be my first victim," I said again. As the child struggled to get away, I choked him to death, and he died. I saw a necklace on his chest, though. I took it and saw a beautiful woman on it. I decided to keep it. I tried to stay out of people's view, because I didn't want to get caught, for I have committed an awful crime. But I had no regret. I saw a barn and went inside. A beautiful woman was sleeping in the hay. I put the necklace on her and ran away. I wanted a partner, someone beautiful like her. I was going to find Frankenstein to make me a woman like he had created me, just like God made Eve for Adam. I finally found Frankenstein after a while. At first, he tried to fight me. He had no such luck, for I was much stronger than he was, and much taller. I convinced him to listen to my story. I told him my story. He seemed shocked. I also told him about how I wanted a partner. And that is it for my vlog. I hope this was entertaining for you. But if you want to hear the entire story of Frankenstein, there is a book. It is written. There is a book that is written by Mary Shelley. If you want to hear the whole story, please read the book.